Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to sample a song and then use that sample inside your track. We're going to be doing some sampling today, but before we dive in, if you are ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through the entire mixing process step by step to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without any more of the hassle and without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and talk about sampling a track and then using that sample inside your song. So I have a track here, doing some revisions for this artist here, and they wanted a double hit to go along with a sample we already have in the track. Now I'm going to mute the vocals here on the song just so we can focus in a little bit better on the actual samples that we're implementing. So let me play you what the chorus sounds like for the song at the moment. We're going to go to this second chorus area because it goes around longer. So let me play you what's currently sounding like. You can hear we have this floor tom implemented to run alongside some defense, some basketball samples that we already have running. That's what we wanted to add, but the artist wasn't quite satisfied with the way that sounded. He had a particular sound in mind from a particular song that he wanted to add in. So we've pulled in that song and we're going to sample that. But let me play you what the song currently sounds like. You can get an idea of where we're sitting right now. So you can hear there's the crowd yelling defense, and we have this floor tom here that bangs along with it. That is what he wanted. He wanted a big boom to kind of go along with the defense, maybe to sound like, people stomping on the floor or something, but he didn't quite like the sound that we ended up with here. So here's what we have currently. It's just a floor tom sitting in there. Oop, I hit my mic there. What he wanted was, he said he liked the bass hit sound from the Sleepy Brown song is called Let's Get To It. So let me show you the sound that he's talking about here. It's just the first 4 hits introing the song. That's the bass sound he wanted. So let me play the beginning of the song here. That's exactly what he wanted. That's the sound he said he wanted. So we're going to sample that and replace our floor tom hits with that bass hit here. So we're going to zoom in on this track here a little bit further. We can see we've got our 4 bass hits right here at the beginning of the song. So I'm going to take actually this first one here, and that's what I'm going to cut out. So we're going to click on the track here, and we're going to use a function called tab to transient. So if you click on your track and click tab on the keyboard, it will go to the first transient. So what we can do here is now we can cut at this transient. So our clip is going to start right at the beginning of this hit. So we're at the transient. I'm going to hit Alt-X to cut right at that transient. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next transient and I'm going to cut there. So now we have a perfect clip of just this hit that we can add into our track. So I'm going to copy this down to another track here. And that's the hit we're going to use. So we don't need that solo anymore. We're going to scroll on up to our drums. This is the hit we're going to match it with right here. We're going to match it with this floor tom hit. So we'll move over here to our first chorus, and we can see where our hits line up here. We might need to shorten it, but we might be able to drag it out as well. What I'm going to do first is get this first hit set up, and then we'll drag it over to the second one. I don't know if I want to... So what I'll do first here is I'll duplicate this so I know where it ends, because I don't want to drag it out any further, otherwise we're going to get the next hit. And then this first one here, I'm going to take and end right where I need the second one to start. That way I have one that fits our first hit, and then I can pull our second hit over and leave that back end on and just kind of fade it out, and that way we won't run into any trouble with the next hit coming in. We'll color it blue to match the rest of our drums here. and we're going to name it bass hit. So let's take a listen. Now we're going to meet the floor tom. Let's take a listen to just this hit here and see how we're sounding. That's not sounding too bad. Let's make sure it's sending to our drum bus here. We shouldn't need much processing on it because it is coming from a finished song. But let's loop this little guy here and just see if we can get it sitting right here by itself at least. So just a slight high pass filter right on the bottom there, and it helped to tighten up the low end on this track a little bit. That way when we mix it in, our bass doesn't overload because we already have a bass going and we already have a kick drum going on this song. So we're just augmenting that with this hit here. So let's get these edits right here on the track. So we're gonna fade these two together. That fade actually looks pretty perfect. So let's take a listen there and make sure that's okay. That sounds good to me. So let's add the fade on the end here. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, fade it to there, and then we'll add a little fade on the end there. So we have this fade taking it down at the end, but I've curved it up a little bit. That way we hear a little bit more of the natural decay. And then I am going to go at the beginning here and add just a slight fade at the beginning of our sample. That way going into it, we don't hear any clicks or pops or anything like that. So let's take a listen to what we have now. That feels pretty good. I think I want to pull up a little bit more of that decay, but not too much there. That feels better. So now what we can do is we can take this track here and we can put it everywhere in the song. We're going to start with just this first chorus here, and I'm going to loop our first chorus and see how it's sitting with the rest of our track here. So it's supposed to match with our defense here. So we'll start with it all the way down, and we'll slowly ease it up here into our track. That's not bad. It's a little wonky sounding. I'm not sure if the tuning's not quite right, but let's take a listen with just the drums here and see what we get. That's feeling really good right there inside the drums. So we pulled it up a little bit further. You could see I went down to just the kick drum and just this bass hit. There's similar sort of sounds inside this track, so I wanted them to sit at least somewhat evenly so we didn't lose any power when this bass hit happened, and then going back into our kick drum, it didn't feel like a dramatic change in low end energy. Then we slowly ease the rest of the drums back in, our claps, our snare hit, because those are layered on top of that bass hit there. And then, of course, our basketball samples here as well. That's sounding pretty good. Let me kick the bass in and see if we're still sitting at a healthy place. That's feeling really good. So now what we can do is we can take this guy here. Since we already have our sample implemented in the song, we can just paste it along through the rest of our track here. So it's on the 4s here. And then we just have 4 of them running up. In that last chorus, we'll copy 4 of them. And they should line up. Looking good here. So I'm just going to disable this track for the moment and then hide it, so we don't need it for the moment. We have that bass hit in. Our artist should be happy. Let's take a listen to this last chorus here, and we should be all set. That sounds good to me. So you can see all we did here to get that sample from our original track was we click on our track, go a little bit before the sound we're looking for, and then you hit tab. So we're tabbing to the transient, and you can see we can tab right up to the transient there, and then Alt-X to cut at that transient. We can copy that sound and place it wherever we want it on the grid because we have right at the beginning of that sound. So we can put it right on the 1, right on the 4 like we have it in this song, and it'll line up perfectly. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you are ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.